Good evening and welcome to Living with Serenity on PositivePower21.org with Jerry Royce Fly Worldwide. I am your host, Michelle-Edmonds, where we talk about natural, healthy living. So sit back, get serene as we get started. We'll be right back after this music break.
What I've come to understand is to surrender your all to God. You have to totally remove yourself from the equation. See, God wants to use us in tremendous ways, but we're the ones in the way. God wants to take us to higher heights, to touch more lives, but until we truly surrender, until we truly give ourselves, our minds, our bodies, our souls to God, our Creator, we haven't truly surrendered. Give yourself to God today. I surrender my all to you, my life for worship. Draw me closer to you. I surrender my all to you, my life of worship. Draw me closer to you, Lord. I surrender to you, Lord. Oh, my life of worship. Lord, draw me closer. Please just draw me closer, God. I surrender my all to you. Draw me nearer to your will, to your way. Lord, draw me close. I need to be beside you, God. I surrender my all to you. I give myself away, all to you. I surrender all to you. As you lift your hands and worship God in this moment, just think about all that God has brought you through. Just think about all that God has brought you to. Isn't that a reason to give yourself to God? You didn't have to make it this far. You didn't wake yourself up this morning. You didn't get yourself out of the last situation. God did. See, I can tell you personally why I give myself to God. I give myself to God because I couldn't even be standing today if it wasn't for Him. See, they wanted to cut off my leg, but God. They wanted to remove me from school, but God. And they wanted to take all of me. They wanted to take all of me, but God. And so I give myself to Him. I surrender my all. And when I say my mind, my body, my soul, my health, my strength, I give it to God because He's worthy of it. I give it to God because He's just that good. He didn't have to do it, but he did. But he did. That alone should make you worship. That alone should make you give him all the glory, all the honor, all the praise today. But God, does anybody have a but God moment in the room tonight? Does anybody have a but God moment that made you want to surrender? You that came out that hospital. You that was on them drugs. You that was on that alcohol. But God, he delivered you. He removed that thing from you. He took it out so that he can be God. He removed that thing so that he can do his job. Now you have to give yourself to him. You have to remove you. The lust, the lying, the cheating, the fornication, everything that we do, the flesh, the flesh, we have to remove it so that God can be God. And that's why we have to surrender. I like that word, surrender. Give ourselves to him. Every time you breathe, it's for him. Every time you blink, it's for God. Everything you do, every time you walk down that street, on your block, you should be ministering to someone. Because you didn't have to be here. Get that understood. You didn't have to. But God did it. I just love to say his name, God. God, the Creator. God, the Almighty. God. Isn't he just wonderful? Why wouldn't you want to surrender yourself to God today?
Hello, listeners. You are listening to Living with Serenity. Once again, this is your host, Michelle-Edmonds, speaking. We are going to talk for this broadcast, July 8th, 2015. The name of our broadcast is Black Woman Losing Weight, Part 1. And we're going to talk to some people who have done this program and have been on a wellness journey and have been successful in losing weight. So hang on, sit tight as we get started with our first speaker of our two-part series. And our speaker's name is Debbie Cosme, and she is a resident of, well, we'll let her tell you. Hang on to your seat while we take this commercial break.
Have you been hurt, been backstabbed, got a talking back team? Well, you're not alone, no. Escaping to another reality through Dominic Wilkins' good books, audio books, paperback, ebook, good books.
We want to thank you all so much for sitting in and joining the broadcast. July 8th, 2015. Our topic tonight is a two-part series, Black Woman Lose Weight. And we welcome to our program and our guest, Debbie Cosme is in the house. Debbie Cosme, are you there?
Yes, Michelle. How are you doing? And thank you for having me.
Oh, I am just delighted, Debbie. This is going to be great fun. We've known each other for quite some time. And can you tell the listeners about how long it's been?
It's been about 15 years or so that we've known each other.
Yep, that's according to my calculation, that's about right. Well, Debbie, we're going to get started. The listeners are excited to hear. There's not a lot of people who are willing to talk about their wellness journey, so we thank you so much, and we thank all the speakers that are lined up to speak on their journey. And, Debbie, we thank you for being the first one out. We know this is not easy, but we know it's also important work. So can we start? Miss Cosme, can we start with you tell the listeners your full name again for us and your city and state of residency, please.
Yes, my name is Deborah Cosme. I go by Debbie, and I live in White Plains, New York.
And, Debbie, can you tell the listeners a little bit about your background and what you did professionally?
I've worked in corporate America for over 30 years. I have a BA, a business degree in business administration. My background is primarily in public and government affairs, hospitality with a concentration in convention and special events planning, along with human resources.
Woo, we got a heavyweight in the house, y'all. Woo-wee. Did y'all hear that? We got someone live here. And thank you so much for that. Debbie, can you tell us a little bit now about when your challenges with weight began? And tell the listening audience basically what methods you've tried early on. What did you do?
I have been on a roller coaster ride most of my life with my weight. It's been up and down. I've been as low as a size 5 and as high as a size 28. I've been on several diets. I even went to a few weight loss doctors where I received some form of medical injections weekly to lose weight. Both of them worked for a short period of time. However, I gained mostly all the weight back and then some. So as time progressed, my knees got really bad and I was hurting all the time. In addition, I couldn't keep up with my family and friends walking on vacation or just in general. So I decided it was time to get the weight off. I felt like I was a burden and everyone was always waiting for me to catch up, and I was always out of breath. So therefore, I was also embarrassed that I let my weight get out of hand.
Can you say a little bit about what do you mean by your knees and your ankles? Can you talk a little bit more about that? Were they swelling? Did they hurt?
I don't have problems with my ankles. I have problems with my knees. When I went to the doctor, he told me the weight on my knees was causing me to have arthritis. I only have it really on one knee, but it also affects the other knee because I seem to favor the good knee more than the bad knee to, I guess, take the pressure off. And walking for a long time, they hurt. Standing for a long time, they hurt. And that was making it difficult all around for my lifestyle, standing waiting for a bus, standing waiting for a train, walking with heavy objects, or just walking in general. I'd have to sit down and rest. And so, therefore, I decided, I believe it was 2013, correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, that I became serious about losing weight. However, I didn't seriously commit to the Serenity program until 2014 and really began my weight loss journey.
Awesome, Debbie. Everyone now, the listeners, may not necessarily know what the Serenity program is, especially if this is their first time tuning into our program, Living with Serenity. And so we're going to take a minute and together, Debbie, and describe to the listeners exactly what Serenity is. I'll just kick that off. We are, for the listeners, we are a three-legged approach. We take a three-legged approach to wellness. Now, when we say wellness, we use that term. Now, you know it is about weight loss, and that is why Debbie is talking to all of you, and she's here to share her story. But when we say wellness, we're really talking about things that take us back to nature. We're going to get away from always running to the doctor, not asking the right questions of our doctors, not thinking for ourselves, not always using artificial substances. And when we say holistic, now remember, Serenity is a holistic wellness program. So now when we say holistic, we are talking about taking y'all back to nature. We are going to talk about going back to doing things that your mama and your grandmama did when you got sick. They would go out and grab some bush. Do you remember that, Debbie?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Did your mother or your grandmother ever give you castor oil or cod liver oil to clean your behind out?
All the time.
Sure, my mother did. And when we got sick, Mom did not go to the doctor to say, can I give my daughter castor oil? Do you remember that ever happening?
Absolutely. Castor oil with a slice of orange.
That's right, with a slice of orange. That's right. She was giving you a cocktail. And everyone we talk to hates it. And as Debbie knows, we have used castor oil in the program as recently as just earlier this year. And when we say the next 3-step program, the next step is we change the way you eat. And Debbie, we do the paleo lifestyle. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about what we mean when we say the paleo lifestyle, in your own words?
Well, to me, the paleo lifestyle is clean eating and living. So therefore, it's no chemicals, it's no artificial, man-made, ingredients or items that are in the food. Everything we eat is fresh.
Absolutely. And paleo is, if you listeners may not know of it, the word is Paleo. You can Google that, and you'll also bring up the word caveman eating. It's the same as caveman eating because, as Debbie shared with you, it is natural eating, clean eating, but it's a little bit further than clean eating. It's really the way man ate first. And then the third thing that we do, and Debbie, you can join in with me on this one as well, is we add in liquid vitamins. Because if you don't take enough nutrition based on your body weight, your body actually goes into craving mode, and you actually eat more because you are nutritionally deprived. And Debbie, before we take another break, do you want to tell the listeners, are you taking your vitamins, girl?
Absolutely, because I have learned, as Michelle says, that they have helped me with my cravings, and they have also made me, I will say, more focused, more energetic, definitely, and my body just feels good.
Awesome. We're going to have Debbie tell all of you exactly which vitamins she takes a little later on in the program. And right now, before we go to a little music selection, we're going to ask Debbie, what attracted you to the Serenity program in the first place? What unique features about this program caught your attention?
Well, what caught my attention first is the fact that the program is not a diet. The Serenity program is about living a healthy lifestyle and eating healthy on an ongoing basis. And this program also presents several dietary scenarios and solutions that occur in our life. And the bonus to this is losing weight in the process while eating good food and delicious food, along with drinking nutritional beverages. Mm-hmm. And the program also introduced to me the Longevity 90 for Life, which is some of the vitamins that I take from this company that have numerous health benefits.
And
so
that's awesome.
What attracted me.
That is awesome, Debbie. And I know I take them as well. Our group is called team members, by the way, listeners. We do not refer to you as clients. We're team members, and the entire team takes the vitamins that Debbie was referring to, as well as myself. We're going to go to a music selection in just a minute. But before we do, I want to take a little stab at, and I'm going to stick my neck out here for a minute, because Debbie had just talked about the paleo lifestyle and what about Serenity in particular was appealing to her. I want to take just a minute or two before our next break to debunk some of the myths. I've been hearing a lot about the blood type diet. Have you heard about that, Debbie?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I heard about it on one of the TV shows.
Yes, and it seems to be making a comeback. Have you noticed that? It got quiet for a while. Have you noticed that it's coming back?
Not really, but I do, like I said, I do remember seeing it on one of the TV shows, and I believe when it first came out, I bought the book because I thought it would help me, but I didn't quite understand it, and I just thought it was too complicated to follow, so I just did not.
Well, I thought maybe a good place to start would be to help clarify some of these myths that are out there. We're going to do that real quickly, and one myth is that you should be eating based on your blood type. We can debunk that real fast. Just talk to someone who's starving in another country. And ask them, before you feed them, ask them what blood type they are. And see how much they care. Tell me if I'm wrong, Debbie, but isn't it your opinion that any person that is really hungry and in need is going to snatch that food as fast as they can, and they are not going to be concerned about their blood type?
Exactly. And most people don't even know their blood type.
Absolutely, absolutely. Further, there is no blood type referenced in the Bible. You cannot find that principle anywhere in the scriptures, that you are made a certain blood type and therefore you should behave and act and eat a certain way. We don't do it for babies. No one feeds a baby based on their blood type. So I really wanted to get that myth out the way. The second myth that I'm hearing a lot about, and we're going to go to our music break in real short few minutes, is the issue about cholesterol. And Debbie, I know we've talked about this in our team calls, but many people will say they don't eat egg yolks, because they have high cholesterol. Have you heard that myth, Debbie? Have you heard that concern?
Yes, I have.
And do you can you tell the audience, in your humble but accurate opinion, what does an egg yolk become when it matures?
A chicken.
And how many people avoid egg yolks in the morning for breakfast and then have chicken for dinner at night?
An abundance of people.
Absolutely. So myth number 2, and that's all we're going to tackle for this radio broadcast, listeners. Myth number 1, eating according to blood type is not Bible-based. We don't do it for babies, and someone who's really hungry could not give a hoot, excuse me for wording that strongly. And myth number 2 that we are debunking on this broadcast is the issue of cholesterol and avoiding egg yolks and then eating grown egg yolks for dinner in a form of chickens at night. So, listeners, we will be debunking myths a little bit at a time on every show, but right now we are going to take a music break. You just hang on to your seat and we'll be right back.
When I lift my hands in worship, I get lost in Him. I don't ask Him for anything. I just honor Him. For I praise Him for what He's done, and I worship Him for who He is. He is my best friend. He is my everything. When I lift my hands and worship, I get lost in Him. I don't ask Him for anything. I just honor Him. For I praise Him for what He's done, and I worship Him for who He is. He is my best friend. He is my everything. learn how to worship and bless his name. Zion, you need to learn how to worship and bless his name. There's healing in your worship when you bless his name. Zion, you need to learn how to worship and bless his name. We bless your 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 name. Zion, you need to learn how to worship. There's healing in your worship. There's deliverance in your worship. We bless your name. We bless your name. We bless your name. We bless your name. Hey.
And welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Living with Serenity on Jerry Royce Live on Power21.org. And my guest tonight is a very, very, very special person to me, Debbie Cosme, sharing her wellness journey from beginning to end. Debbie, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. We are going to pick it where we left off. Someone has just joined us. They need to know we were talking about chickens and eggs. Chickens and eggs. In case you were wondering, what kind of show is this? Everyone, we were just kind of making fun of the fact how people avoid eggs in the morning, egg yolks in the morning. And even though an egg yolk is a chicken, we then have chicken for dinner, all in the name of keeping our cholesterol down. It's really quite nutty, and it speaks to how we don't really think about what we're doing. We buy into these marketing myths and many times ignorance of the doctors themselves. But Debbie is sharing her journey, and we want to pick up, drum roll, Debbie. Can you tell us how much weight you have released in total to date?
I have released 53 pounds. I used to wear a size 2X, which is a 24, and now I wear a large, which is a 14-16. And I'm very proud to say that.
You should be proud. What does it feel like? You mentioned earlier about being embarrassed. The weight was actually humiliating. Can you talk to that a little bit more? Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, I probably shouldn't say this. Well, a couple of years ago, I went to Orlando with my family, and there was a ride that everybody wanted to get on, and I was like, okay, it's not that scary. I'll get on it. I'm not much of a ride person. But what really did it was when they put the bars down, I just thought my body was going to explode. It was so tight I couldn't breathe. And I was like really scrunched in the seat. And I was like, that's embarrassing. Mm-hmm. And I empathize with other people that are heavy because, yeah, there were a lot of people sitting on the sidelines or sitting outside because they couldn't get on the ride because they couldn't fit in the seats. I fit in the seat, but it was just when everything came down, I was very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So that, you think about that and you're embarrassed and you feel bad and you wish, basically I wish I never even went in there to go on the ride because I was embarrassed. I had to leave. It's things like that that, make you think I have to do something, or make some people think, but it definitely made me think.
I remember one of our team members shared on our team call how, and this is a male, by the way, even though our program is Black Women Lose Weight, parts 1 and 2. We will be doing Black men as well because they also lose weight. But we had a Black male share over the phone. He was over 300 pounds, and he talked about how humiliated he was at hearing his thighs rub together. You don't hear men say that too often. Do you relate to what he was saying in any way?
Oh, absolutely. My friends and I, we've all made jokes about that, the baby powder, the extra shorts or cut-off leggings, so that whatever we have on underneath, that's what we have, so that our legs don't rub together.
So all these little tricks that people who are overweight have so that they minimize the amount of embarrassment that they feel, like baby powder and leggings underneath your clothes.
Oh, not only that, also how your body feels. That if you get heat rash, it's very uncomfortable.
And so when you talk about going from one size to the next, that must have felt like an awesome accomplishment for you.
It did. At first it didn't, because I kept all my big clothes and I kept on wearing them. And then somebody said, why don't you just buy some new clothes? And I think, well, I'm not even going to say I think. I know it's the mindset. You're so used to being heavy and you're so used to having big clothes. And I guess it was, I don't know, I knew I was losing weight, and I said, oh, I'll just keep these just in case. And then I realized that was a negative thing to say or to think, because I don't want to gain the weight back. My mission is to continue to lose the weight until I get to my goal weight, and to keep it off forever.
Yeah, see, just in case, wouldn't you, Debbie, is just that. If you hold on to those old clothes just in case, you really are leaving the door open to gaining the weight back, aren't you?
Exactly. But I had to figure that out.
That's right. These don't always come to you right away. These are, kind of unfolds like an onion. They're layers of an onion. And when you're on your wellness journey, you realize some of these subconscious behaviors that you're holding on to that keep you fat and where you are. And holding on to those old clothes is one of those behaviors that many, many people do. Weight loss is expensive, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, it is. and I think that was part of it too, because I had a lot of what I considered to be expensive suits and clothes that I had for work and going out. Sure you do. And what has been the hardest part about the food choices? Since we were talking about that holding on to old clothes just in case, what has been the hardest part about those food choices for you to give up? I laugh because we've discussed this several times, and maybe people can relate. Okay, my hardest food choices to give up have been wine and alcohol, rice, bread, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, cheesecake, cannolis, barbecue chips, and Cheetos. Woo, girl. And I won't mention the wine again. We'd be having some fun. Yeah. Woo, I'm sure the audience can relate to that. And do you know, you've heard me say this many a times, Debbie, it takes 1,500 calories to gain just 1 pound. That would be my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I think I brought that up because I think that's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is right in there. Yes, that was my quick comfort food. Yes. Yes. I think that's right about 1,500 calories. When we say 1,500 calories, you mean over your daily intake, over your current daily intake.
It just takes 1,500 to gain 1 pound. And I believe a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is right in there. It's between 12 and 13, just one sandwich. And I believe a glass of wine is around 850 calories. So that's what's happening, y'all. We got to take a break. Debbie's going to hang on. She'll come back with us, and she's going to share some of her wisdom with all of you. Hang on, everyone. We're going to take a music break. We'll be right back.
Here are my wounds and here are my fractures. I lay them down at the cross. For you were wounded for my transgressions. Your blood was shed for my loss. So I pour my soul out to you, and you pour your soul out to me. The exchange at the cross, I believe, is mighty to save. Even me, you are mighty to save. Even me, yeah, yeah. Sometimes my pain is greater than I can fathom or even express. Please hear my heart cry, save and deliver me from myself. Give me rest, so I pour my soul out to you, and you pour your soul out to me. The exchange at the cross, I believe, is mighty to save. Even me, you were mighty to save. Even me, you will pour water on the soul who is thirsty, flood upon the dry ground, and you'll pour your spirit on the seed of the righteous. Your blessings are flowing now, so I pour my soul out to you, and you pour your soul out to me. The exchange at the cross, Lord, I believe, is mighty to save. Even me, you were mighty to save. Even me, yeah. Here are my wounds and here are my fractures. I see them healed at the cross. For you were wounded for my transgressions. Your blood was shed for my loss. So I pour my soul out to you, and you pour your soul out to me. The exchange at the cross, I believe, is mighty to save. Even me, you are mighty to save. Even me, you are mighty to save. Even me, you are mighty to save. Even me.
Hi, this is Angel Sessions, and when I'm in town, I listen to Jerry Royce live positivepower21.org, where they play my favorite music.
Good evening, everyone. This is your host, Michelle-Edmonds, and you are listening to Living with Serenity on Power21.org with Jerry Royce Live. And we are interviewing a very special friend and someone who's been on a wellness journey for many years and is succeeding, Debbie Cosme, who is serving and living in the Maryland, D.C. area of the United States. I'm like, let's see, where? Of the United States. We are going to, I am so excited. We're going to accelerate our program, and we're going to jump right back in. And because we want to hear Debbie's parting words of wisdom that she wants to leave with all of you. She has, I believe, Debbie, you have some advice that you'd like to leave with people who are on a wellness journey. Let's have a little conversation about that.
I want everybody to know, to be transparent, that I have been guilty of cheating and having setbacks, but I always get back on the straight and narrow, a.k.a. the program, because I realize that cheating always puts the weight back on. And my primary goal is to lose the weight, not gain it, and continue to keep it off. So the 3 areas of advice, I'm not sure if they're areas, I'll just say what I think, that you have to recognize and believe that you're worth it and owe it to yourself to be healthy, regardless of any issues or challenges you have or have experienced. I now know, because of the program, the value of eating breakfast. Therefore, always eat a healthy breakfast. And last but not least, never give up. Never, ever give up. If you stray, have no regrets. Dust yourself off and get back to the basics. Just never give up.
Awesome. I'm going to start with that last one. Where do you think, Debbie, this giving up so quickly comes from? I mean, where do we get this from? Why do we do that? Why did you do it? Do you have any insight on that you can share?
Well, a few things. I think one was like being depressed for a few things that I was going through. Laziness, not wanting to cook. So it was just easier to do a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a grilled cheese sandwich, just make something easy and quick, not necessarily nutritional. And really, I think because people don't think they're worthy. And that's something that I struggled with, to realize that I should be healthy. I didn't want to have any severe and grave health issues that I've seen friends and family members have. And so I had to decide whether I wanted to live or die. And you have to decide if you are worthy of taking care of yourself and being healthy. Because once you get sick, it's hard to get unsick. Or once you get a disease, it's hard to get rid of that disease.
Do you have any, a lot of our team members have expressed getting bad medical news and actually cheating even more. Did you ever experience that and wonder what on earth you were doing? Did you ever have that experience?
No, not necessarily eating. I might have gotten bad news and opened up a bottle of wine, but that's just as bad as, I'm being honest, it's just as bad as eating.
Yes, right.
You sit there and you're drinking and you're thinking and you're drinking, and next thing you know, the bottle's gone.
And that's based on bad news about your health, ironically.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's really counterproductive, and it doesn't make sense, but it's just what we do.
Right. And I know we didn't discuss this in advance, but I know that you have some insight about this. Does any of this feel like an addiction to you? I mean, some people throw that term around about overeating and people being overweight, being addicted. What is your take on that? Give us a personal opinion. I know this is not rehearsed, but share from your heart what your understanding is on that issue of being an addict.
I never thought about it until we've had several team conference calls about that subject. And when I did think about it, it made sense that we try to soothe our feelings or our moods with something. And most of the time it's either with food or alcohol. And you don't, I have friends that just have a drink a night, and you don't think it's an addiction. I never thought it was an addiction. You just want something to relax yourself. But it could be. I think food, when you're binging, is an addiction. And I guess the same for alcohol.
Mhm. It's funny how everyone is very clear that alcohol is an addiction or drugs is an addiction. Excessive cigarette smoking, everybody agrees, you're addicted to nicotine. But when it comes to food, it gets kind of fuzzy, doesn't it, when we use that term addiction? It's very,
Exactly.
it makes us a little squirmy, and all of a sudden that word addiction it's not as clear anymore, is it?
And you don't people in general do not associate food as an addiction.
Right. Maybe I could.
The term addiction.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wondering if maybe it would be more accurate, and you tell me what you think about this. It might be more accurate to say the act of eating too much or too little is the addiction? Because sometimes, you know why I think it's confusing? A lot of people who are overweight skip meals all the time. That's why
Absolutely.
that's why they're so quick to say, "What do you mean an addict? I can go all day without eating."
And I have been guilty of that.
Sure. And it makes that definition of addict very fuzzy, doesn't it? Because a cocaine addict does not go all day without their coke, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I never thought of it that way. I was just like, I'm not hungry, so I'll eat whenever I'm hungry, and it'll be 5 or 6 o'clock for my first meal. And now I know that that's not the thing to do.
That's right. Well, you started us off by saying your second words of wisdom was eat breakfast, and you realized how important that was. And then your first was you are worthy of being healthy. Everyone, I just want to thank Debbie publicly so much for her taking time to share her story with all of you, give her words of wisdom. We're going to go over them one more time. Debbie has shared with all of you that you are worthy of being healthy. And number 2, she says to eat breakfast. She's realized that really is important. And number 3, she says never give up. Once again, Debbie Cosby, is there a way that people can contact you? I understand you are now working as a wellness coach.
Yes, under you, I am. They can have my telephone right now. They can have my telephone number, and they can have my email address. My telephone number is 914-525-9922, and my email address is dmwcosme@aol.com.
And lastly, I'm going to really steal some time from our program. Would you take a few minutes and tell the listeners what vitamins you're taking, and would you let them know that they can call you and order them from you, that you will set up an account for them? Can you first tell them what you're taking?
Wow, I take a lot. My favorite, Michelle knows this, my favorite is Pollen Burst. It has vitamins and minerals in it, but it also gives you a huge boost of energy. And I love it, and it comes in 3 flavors, I believe, orange, cherry, and now grape. I take selenium. I take plant-derived minerals. I take, I believe it's Aki? No. Oh, Z-Radical. And I take Osteo Beyond FX for calcium. And I also take ASAP for weight
That's the
loss.
weight loss formula, right? Uh-huh.
Right. And I also take Women's FX, which
and
is
that's
for,
the hormonal formula, right?
Right, for hormone balance.
And we do like the longevity products. I used to own a health food store. To the listeners who don't know me as well, I would use longevity products even if it weren't. If I still had a health food store, they are mostly in liquid form, and we do really recommend them. Debbie, you want to remind the listeners one more time how they can contact you and how they can call you to set up a longevity account to order some of the items that you mentioned.
Yes, you can call me at 914-525-9922. And you can also email me at dmwcosme, C-O-S-M-E, at AOL.com.
Awesome. Once again, listeners, that was Debbie Cosme. We are so thankful that she's taking the time to join us tonight to tell her wellness story. And this is your host, Michelle-Edmonds, as we tune out in our third show of Living with Serenity. We'll be back with part 2 of Black Women Losing Weight. Until then, we want you to sit back, stay serene, and take it easy, take life easier, have fun, and don't take everything so seriously. With that said, this is Michelle Edmonds once again on Jerry Live, Power 21 Worldwide. See ya.
Thank you for tuning in to Jerry Voice Live on PositivePower21.org and Spreaker.com/PositivePower21. This is a Voice Enterprises production. And don't forget about replay on Facebook.com/Jerry Voice Live.